rise for the national anthem. He said that nation fascinated me both for its deep spiritual presence and for the courage they have in fighting what they're fighting for the past 60 years. This always stayed with me for the past. This is more than 30 years since I heard him. Today we have Professor Samdhong Rinpoche, and you all read about him. It's a privilege once again to say that he is with us to talk about our life and business. And I'm sure that what he says will at least raise a lot of questions from all of us. Professor.
Namaskar to everybody. It is indeed a matter of pleasure for me to have this beautiful evening to discuss something with the intelligentsia of Hyderabad Janpad. I was for the last about month or so on move at various places, so I could not have the information about the topic on which I was to talk on this evening. This morning when I arrived here, I was informed that I should talk on management of business and life. So it appeared to mean a topic which I know nothing. Actually, business is not my business. Nevertheless, since it has been informed to the audience, then there was no way to deny it. Sometimes complete ignorant people attempt to talk a subject which is out of the speaker's thought process, might bring something which might have a point of consideration. With this hope, I am trying to say something, but at the same time, I would like to have your permission to reverse the formulation. Instead of management of business and life, I would like to talk management of life and business. In my viewpoint, business should always for the life, and the life should not be in any way for the business. This basic understanding is, I think, very necessary if anyone would like to have a happy life or a meaningful life. Whatever business we do is to make the life meaningful or to make the life happy. So therefore, life is more important, and life can be a meaningful even without any business. So if we explore what is life and how a life can make happy or perhaps meaningful, there are certain necessities which shall have to make effort to acquire. Human life is a great gift of our past good karmic force or good fortune, and it is not easily available for every sentient being. The importance of human life need to be realized by everyone. The greatest potential of awakening and the greatest potential to become free, only humanity has that potential. The animal kingdom and the other realms of life does not have the potential to enlightenment or realization. So therefore it is time to make ourselves different from the animal realm or the rest of the all realms. If the human life has the potential of enlightenment or freedom, then not using that potential might be the greatest loss and the greatest mistake a person can do. So therefore, we must try to make our life a happy life, and not only a happy life, a meaningful life. For that, to make our life a happy life, there is three necessities, three components of life. The first is a sound body or sound health. The second is a sound mind. And the third is a right livelihood. Right livelihood is a Buddhist terminology. I will discuss a bit more when we come to the management of business. to achieve a sound body is not very difficult, but one must have a determination, wisdom, and will to have it. In this 21st century, we have advantages as well as the disadvantages. Advantage, the medical science, the development of science and technology have a lot of advantage to maintain our body in a good shape. At the same time, we have disadvantage of many new diseases and much polluted environment. No clean water to drink, no clean air to breathe, no clean space to live. The entire ecosystem has been knowingly and intentionally we have polluted and destroyed. In this condition, unless you have a very alert mind, you may not able to maintain a sound body. One has the will to maintain a sound body. It is possible to maintain our body. The daily routine, the food habits, and the exercise of all body components. Body components means the part of body and also the breath, the prana. And all this need to be exercised and regulated. And the balance of daily behavior has need to be pay attention. To let the body remain organic, not to be polluted through anomalous chemicals and external objects which may not be suitable to the body. A majority of diseases of today are due to polluted food and drink which we intake. That shall have to be very mindfully take care of. And we have lost the sensitivity to our body. A meditator or a yoga practitioner used to have the awareness of the all body sensations. There is slightest sensation, any part of body, the mindfulness can recognize that sensation and pay attention to it. Due to loss of sensitiveness to our body, due to intake of intoxication, materials and chemicals, we lost the sensitivity to our body, thereby sometimes we only dictate, the disease become quite advanced and difficult to treat. Even the disease such as cancer can be dictated at a very late stage. This is due to insensitiveness to our body. And we shall have to remain mindfulness, alert and sensitive to our body. Awareness is not only necessary for the mind, the awareness is also necessary for our body. Through mindfulness and through care, we might able to keep our body in shape, but to keep our mind in sound state is much more difficult due to various causes of conditioning and various distractions of material and technology and many things, and also the indoctrination of modern civilization, the habit of comparison and competition, which stands the ego so heavily, and we lose the rationality of mind and become a kind of full of blind faith. In the ancient time, various religious traditions have been blamed for spreading blind faith, dogmas, and orthodoxy and so forth. But today, the science and technology also become a source of blind faith. We do not know many things, but we taking things for granted. Acceptance and knowledge is a very different thing. To know a thing or to accept a thing is quite different. But the modern education make the people to accept the majority of the facts or the false. But we never examine the things for ourselves. The rationality of mind is being very much suppressed, and instead of progressing the process of learning, we are being completely filled with the information, already processed information, which does not leave room for inquiry and examination. That make our mind again insensitive, full of beliefs and conclusions or faiths. It may not be in a spiritual realm or religious realm, even in the field of material. worldly things. We are being conditioned to accept many false things without any examination or without any inquiry. So we shall have to come out of all these beliefs and acceptances. We must have an open mind which could patiently live with the questions and inquiries and not in a hurry to find an answer or conclusion. The inquiry leads you a process of learning, and we stop the process of learning by acceptance of a conclusion which was made by someone else. Anybody's conclusion or anybody's finding may be near to the reality or may not be near to the reality. Even if it is near to the reality or it is just finding of the reality, but that is for that person only. Someone else finding cannot give you the realization of reality. The reality shall have to be found by oneself. So to have an open and learning mind is absolutely necessary for having a positive and good life, to manage a good life. So therefore, we must refuse to accept someone else's conclusions and findings. We must able to learn, inquire, analyze the things by one's own rationality and intelligence, which need to be developed through a process of logic and reasoning. Nothing is beyond reasoning. Nothing is beyond logic. This simple fact shall have to be kept in mind, and the sensitiveness of mind must be protected and preserved. We should not allow to grow the insensitiveness by accepting many things as told by a teacher or written in some of the books or commonly accepted tradition, whatever it may be. That is not one's own knowledge, one's own wisdom.
AP 92201, the car is blocking the way. Someone could do.
Our ways are very easy to be blocked because we keep mostly one-way traffic. The open mind need to be many possibilities. the philosophy of Jain, they talk about Anek Ant or Shedbad that leaves room for more inquiry and examination. They never in a hurry to reach a conclusion. So, to keep an open and rational mind is extremely necessary for a management of life. If you have a sound body and sound mind, free from any dogma and false beliefs or blind faith, then you can proceed a process of learning a good and happy life. But to lead a full, unfigurated life, you need a right livelihood. Right livelihood makes you not dependent on someone else. A grown person must be economically or one's own subsistence should be of one's own effort. Right, right livelihood means earning of livelihood through a right effort. Without any effort, without any labor, the easy earnings are considered to be not a right livelihood. Therefore, to find a right livelihood need to be examined from so many angles. The first condition is that a source of income which is not involved directly or indirectly any violence to any living creature. No violence way of earning, free from exploitation or free from physical or mental harming. That is the first condition to have a right livelihood. And secondly, it must be required a physical and mental labor, effort. I was wondering for some time why Mahatma Gandhi, his 11 wars, 11 pratyagas, one is the physical labor, sharirik shram. Without sharirik shram, without physical labor, earning is considered to be an easy earning. Easy earning means you have not earned it. The earning is not made due to you through your physical effort. And at the same time, the earning must be, as I mentioned, free from violence, not only free from violence to other living beings, but it must be free from harming to the nature, eco-friendly. Whatever occupation or whatever livelihood you choose, that should be no harming to nature and the ecosystem. And apart from that, the third necessity is that livelihood must be sustainable. Sustainable from the viewpoint of resource, sustainable from the viewpoint of method, sustainable from the viewpoint of its own nature. The unsustainability of any livelihood is considered to be wrong livelihood, not a right livelihood. That's a simple reason the planet Earth and all the resources in this planet Earth are not infinite, not unexhaustible. Of course, there is regeneration and recycling, but that needs certain period of time and also conditions, favorable conditions. The human greed do not see the limitation of resources. Greed is unlimited and the resources are limited. Whatever resource we are using must be a kind of recreatable, renewable, and for that renewable we shall have to understand the causes and the conditions so that we are not encroaching on the share of the future generation, coming generation. If we are encroaching, we are using the resources of future generation. That means we are robbing or stealing from the resources of the coming generation. Similarly, it is harmful to nature and ecosystem. That also harms to the regenerative resources as well as the resources for the future living creatures. So, therefore, to have a right livelihood is most difficult thing in the present day. In the present day, due to the so-called modern civilization, we are unable to live on our needs. We are being conditioned and taught to live on our greed. Our greed has been immensely exploited by the modern civilization, particularly in the age of industrialization. For the last around 200 years or little less than 200 years, the humanity is capable of producing the commodity much more than the real need. And therefore, these productions need a consumer. And all human beings have been transformed into a consuming machine. And for that purpose, our greed has been immensely exploited through the indoctrination of comparison and competition. So we do not know what is one's own need. We only look the others. The others are using something, and we think I must also use this. And not using, in fact, we are consuming. Utilization is something different connotation, and consuming is something different connotation. That's why Gandhi calls this consumeristic culture as Shaitanik Sabhyata or Kali Yuga Sabhyata. He has very solid reasons to negate entire modernity and modern civilization in his Hind Swaraj. I must recommend everyone who wish to manage the life and one's livelihood. The person must read Gandhi's Hind Swaraj. There's a small booklet. He have written it 104 years before. 99 he have written that book, and that book become much more relevant and revealing all the truth of today in the 21st century. So we should understand how to manage a life and a livelihood or a business through his logic and through his reasoning. I do not say that we must accept whatever Gandhi has said, but we must consider his logic and reasoning and examine for ourselves whether he was talking a sensible thing or his arguments are based on facts and truth. So this is a good eye-opener, so we can examine that. So if you have a sound body, sound mind, unconditioned and unindoctrinated mind, a reasonable mind, sensitive mind, and a right livelihood, then you would have a very happy life. If you want to make that happy life a meaningful life, then there is a fourth requirement. Fourth requirement is spirituality. Spirituality does not mean one should follow any religious tradition or follow a guru or a teacher. Here, what I mean spirituality is realization of the self, who I am, and what I am for. This question must be asked. This question can be asked even by a non-believer. if you are following any religious tradition, your own religious tradition will teach you how to examine who you are and what you are for and what is the purpose of life. It will teach by your own religious tradition. If you are belonging to any religious tradition, then one must be sincere and faithful to that religious tradition. Unfortunately, the religion is almost disappear from the surface of earth. What remains here is the name and the institutions of the religions. Anyone who borns in a Hindu family is considered to be Hindu, Christian family is considered to be Christian. Religions have become almost hereditary. In fact, it can never be hereditary. To become a Buddhist, the person must be understand what is Buddhism and what is the three jewels, the three refuges. And when one takes refuge into the Dharma, the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, particularly taking refuge into the Dharma, then the person is considered to become a Buddhist. Buddhist can never be by birth. But today we consider by birth someone is become Buddhist or Christianity or Hindu. So that means we do not have any religion in our mind. That's why the name of religions have become a source of conflict, division and violence, and which is given the name of religious intolerance. Religious intolerance, the world itself is self-contradicting. If anyone has a religious mind, the person can never be intolerant. Someone is intolerant, the intolerant itself is the greatest evidence, proof that the person is not religious minded. So there can never be religious intolerance. But today we give name religious intolerance. So if someone does not have religious mind, then he or she must be able to confess, I do not belong to any religious tradition. Yet that person can pursue a spiritual journey, spirituality. Therefore, looking inwardly and make effort to understand oneself, not comparing to someone else. Each individual is individual, unique, and it cannot be compared with anyone else. So therefore, to understanding of oneself is the most important to begin a spiritual journey. And if you have this kind of inclination to proceed in the spiritual journey, then management of your life and management of your business both can be taken care of. As I mentioned, the right livelihood is the framework of managing your business. And apart from that, when you enter into a business as your life sustaining livelihood, then that right livelihood should be pursued as a process of learning. Any business person, either it may be trader or it may be a builder or it may be a producer, whosoever is engaged in any kind of vacation, that vacation itself make as inner journey, not only earning a livelihood, but that can make a basis of a journey into the spirituality or a process of learning. Acceptance of not knowing is most important in the progress of the spirituality, and for that process any trade, any vocation can be very easily transformed to a basis of learning process. You will find a number of sages and seers of India, some of them weavers, some of them musicians, some of them pot or clay makers, and their trade or their vocation become a basis of their inner journey, their sadhana, and that is possible for everyone to manage one's own business as a basis and as a process of learning and looking or searching of the truth that will be a real managing your business in the right direction. I was told to speak about 40-45 minutes that I already consumed. Now I shall stop here and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. This is the last meeting we would have before the year ends, and what a fine way to end the year. Or is it the last meeting before the world comes to an end 2 days from now? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, all yours. Who's going to move the mic around? Samitri? Bansi? Would like to start?
We are very, sir, good evening, sir. We are very much impressed by your simplicity. One major difference, like you were not giving any eye contact while you were speaking to us. That means, still the inputs which we got has tremendous depth with regard to the business and life. Still further, can you give us something about, can you tell something about meditation, the impact of meditation to our life and business?
Meditation is a very vast subject. We were not able to discuss it in a short spell of question answer section. Because the meditation involves in a entire journey of spirituality, right from the ordinary stage to the stage of enlightenment, or in other words, in the Buddhist terminology, from the entry into the path till the achievement of Buddha nature. Today, the word in English, meditation, yoga, sadhana, all these become a very common and perhaps commercialized expression. Lot of meditation shops which can market the various methods of meditation. Meditation refers to a three different, largely, broadly, three different kind of mental exercise. The first is exercise of concentration. That's called concentrative meditation, and in the Buddhist technical term we call it shamatha. How to train the mind to concentrate on one point without any disturbance, without any expression or scatteredness. That is one process of meditation. The other process of meditation is the transformation of mind. That means the cultivation of mind. For example, meditation on Maitri Bhavana, meditation on Karuna Bhavana. That means meditate on loving kindness and compassion. And that meditation does not mean to concentrate on the point of Karuna or Maitri. That means to transform, to convert, to inculcate your mind in the nature of compassion, love, and kindness. And that is altogether a different way to inculcation of mind. And there are third kind of meditation, which is not very common, but in a Buddhist tradition and non-Buddhist tradition both, it's being used at many times and many ways. That is meditation of visualization. To visualize some kind of image, and that visualization is being used for advancement of the mental state or the transformation of mind. So broadly we should have to understand the three broad category of ways of meditation. And this can be again classified into two categories. The first is analytical meditation and the second is concentrative meditation. Visualization and cultivation meditation both comes in the analytical meditation, and only concentrative meditation comes in the concentrative meditation. So broadly we can say meditation means the training of mind. Training of mind is for the purpose of awakening of wisdom. realization. And to have a meditative mind, whatever the meditation it may be, the precondition to have a good meditative mind is must be begin when you have a certain moral discipline to be followed. So, in the Buddhist way of expression is the threefold education system. That means the moral code, the concentrative mind, and the wisdom. Shil, Samadhi and Pragyan. Shil, Samadhi, Pragyan is the essence of the entire Buddha's teaching. The cause of ignorance is, cause of all miseries is the ignorance. Ignorance can be dispelled by the wisdom. Wisdom can only awake if you have a full concentrative mind. And for having the concentrative mind, you must observe moral discipline. So this is interweaving three ways of awakening the mind. So meditation cannot be taken very lightly, or it can never be for the purpose of stress reduction or improvement of efficiency. I heard many meditation courses which are being conducted for stress reduction, relaxation, or improvement of efficiency, so on and so forth. All these are just worldly purposes. The real meditation must be for the awakening of inner wisdom, and that is only for a purpose of spirituality. And of course, it has its own side products. It may reduce stress, it may increase your efficiency, but meditation is not for the purpose of these things. So meditation is only for the awakening of the inner wisdom, and therefore it must be go through the process of Shil, Samadhi, Pragyan sequentially.
Professor, you said that we should not go by blind faith. We have to question and then come to our own conclusion. People who do that are considered as rebels, not following the rules. So how do you think, what should be your advice to those people who have inquisitive mind, who don't want to accept blind faith, but they'll have to face tremendous amount of obstruction from the people who are asked to toe the line?
I think any rational person should have the courage to become rebels. What is harm in that? As far as Buddhists are concerned, Buddha have told by himself, or bhikkhus and wise person, whosoever is following me must examine my words for yourself. Like a goldsmith examines the gold's purity by putting it in the fire, by cutting it by instruments, and by rubbing it on the stone, and so on and so forth. Similarly, whatever I have said, you should not take it as a face value due to your respect or your devotion to me or to Buddha. You shall have to find it for yourself, and you found it true, only then you accept it, follow it. So, particularly there is Buddha's teaching in Pali that is called the Kalam Sutta. Kalam Sutta is a long discourse in that he dealt enormously at length how he should not be believed by all what he have said, and his words must be examined. So therefore, in Buddhism, somebody is challenging or somebody is examining the Buddha's teachings, never considered as rebels. It is of course, there is a certain framework how to examine it, and within that framework, everybody is accepted to examine the Buddha's teachings, and therefore, all the Buddha's teachings need to be understood in the two different ways: the Nitarth way and the Niyarth way. Literally to be accepted and not to be accepted literally, but it has to be interpreted in different ways. In the same time, the process of examination and the process of learning, which may not make apparently something kind of challenging, but on the contrary, in the spirit of learning and understanding, that does not necessarily need to negate or to